This is our 19th one.
19?
19.
All right.
We're almost to 20. Almost to 20. Hello, everyone. My name's Matt Cameron, and I'm here with Risto doing another Tracardi, open source Tracardi office hours. And this is our 19th office hours so far, so it's pretty special. We might throw a party soon, as soon as we get to 21. That might just be the new year when that happens. And that'll be, we've been doing office hours 23, 24, 25 at that stage. So it will be a celebration over 2 years, which is pretty cool. I know that Risto, I know that the release 1.10 is out there now. Last time I can remember us talking about the new features that are coming. And I know that there's a bit of testing going on. Last weekend, I generally went through all my Tracardi instances and did my updates, and everything continued to work as expected, which is fantastic. I guess the big question I've got, I know you're going to share, is we know what's been released. How do we use it? So I guess that's the meat of tonight's or today's Tracardi office hours. How do we use the new features that we've got in 1.10?
Yes, I would like to give you like a short walkthrough. Actually, this release is not about the features that we can, like very new features that we can use. It's more about the internal workings of Tracardi. So I will very shortly say about this, but I also would like to talk about the future of Tracardi, how I see it, because I came up with some ideas that would help the people who want to contribute or resell Tracardi to have like more leverage over the people who just install it. So, and there is also some internal changes that will be very nice in the future. Okay? And I will also probably give a short preview of the new version of Tracardi. So we can also talk about this, and you can see where it's heading. Let's start with the blog post, so I can just give you a quick preview of Tracardi 1.1.0 and the future of Tracardi, how we will transition into the new versions. So the newest version has some new features, and most of them are performance upgrades. So the internal processes were refactored, and we have like a lot of different configurations that we can pick on and then make a performance boost like 50%, or even in some use cases 600%. So this is very nice upgrade, but we cannot show it because this is not a feature that you can click and see it. And this could be done because now we are queuing in a commercial version, of course, we are queuing all the payload that comes to Tracardi. So we do not process the events, we just put it into the queue, and then some background workers can process it, and that enhances the speed. And you can also collect the data in bulks. So if there are like, Tracardi is like a middleware API. So from other APIs, we can like bulk the data and then send it to Tracardi. It also improves performance. And the new features are selective auto merging with APM, because we had this configuration that Tracardi will merge data if any of the personal data is given to the profile. The profile is updated, so Tracardi will automatically merge it. It was changed, and now in commercial version we can say we only want to merge on email. This is possible, and we also internally merged the whole code that was responsible for automatic profile merging with the identification points. So now it's one code, and it's easier to spot any errors if there are any.
Doing that, I guess that's the heart of something being composable. It's
yes.
All of its parts are very separate, and you can configure it however you need it to be.
Yes, actually, while working with my partners, Most of the changes of Tracardi are not in the way it works, because it works. It's in the way how we configure it, how much it costs, how easily is it to set up in a different environments, can we spread the load on different servers. So most of the things that are now changed are not the things that are visible in the graphical user interface. And usually, when you upgrade, you don't see anything changed in the graphical user interface, but there's a lot of changes in the background. So, and this will be visible in the next version that it comes. Okay. So I also noticed this, that not a lot of people would like to upgrade Tracardi because actually they see this almost the same system, but it works a bit differently. So and basically this version does some changes in the API that we do not see. And the other interesting thing is that how we would like to go to next version and how Tracardi will change, because I have some thoughts about how to develop this product. And very interesting things that is happening. A lot of people are interested in composable CDP. And I think in the future versions, I will concentrate on composability, but I have to somehow redefine it, because I think the composability of today's CDPs are very shallow. It just says, okay, I have some database and I would like to have my merged profiles in that database. But there's a lot of other things that we are not thinking about. And as I said, working with my partners, I see that they are struggling with the data distribution among the servers. They struggle with cost of ownership, which is very, very interesting, because when you install Tracardi, you have to think about how much it costs. And I would like to go into the direction where it will cost you very little. Okay, so what the refactoring in Tracardi will do, I would like to create not only a composable system, but also a system that can adapt to your environment. So what it means, let me give you an example. One of my partner customers has Kafka installed in their system. Okay, Kafka is a queue where you can save the data, and then some workers take it from the queue and process it. Tracardi is using Apache Pulsar. So when we create Tracardi this way, that we can have adapters for any queues, then this customer could reduce its cost of ownership down for Tracardi down to zero, because they already have Kafka and they already are paying for this. So for the queue, if we have system written this way that we can attach any queues, then we can lower the cost of ownership. And the same comes for database, cache, Redis, that we use Redis right now, but maybe we could use other system. And the same goes for storing metadata, what is right now stored in MySQL, but could be stored in Postgres, for example. And if we have this level of composability, then it's much easier to set up a Tracardi in any environment. You don't have to. The perfect word will be you use Tracardi in some SaaS, and then there you define which dependent database, queue, and cache you use. You have in your environment, and then it will reuse this infrastructure. So this is huge. Actually, refactoring this and building it this way is very very time consuming. But when we go there, it will be very easy to compose CDP the way you want. Another thing is fault tolerance, because the dependencies like queues, database sometimes fail. We don't want to we don't want data to be lost. So the main processes that collects data should still run even if my MySQL database fails. And this is, with the new version that I will present, this is already available. So actually my database could fail, and I have everything cached inside APIs, and as long the APIs are working and not restarting, it will work. The same goes for the queue in the commercial version. If the queue fails, it just falls back to the API, so the API can produce it. It will not be able to produce it very quickly, but it will still collect the data. And this is also very important. And now we have a new approach to graphical user interface. As you know, right now for the version 1.1, there's only one open source graphical user interface, and that's the same user interface is used in commercial version, but there are some stars saying, okay, this part is licensed, and you need a license for this. And I want to split this. I want to have like an open source version graphical user interface and a commercial version of graphical user interface. The open source version will be as it is, but the commercial version will be developed this way that it can be used both with the commercial API and open source API. And the commercial version will be shared at the discount prices or very low price with our partners that resell open source version. So they have a leverage over the people that install just plain open source Tracardi. So if you deliver a paid version of open source Tracardi, you can use a commercial graphical user interface that will have more features, will present data better, will be easier to use. So this way we can like give additional features to the open source partners that resell open source solution. And also there will be SaaS-based GUI, so there will be also a way to support the open source project, because right now a lot of our contributors, or actually they're not contributors, just users, install open source Tracardi, and that's enough for them. And they do not support any way the project. But there will be a way to support the project by using a SaaS-based graphical user interface that you can connect to your open source version. You will get some benefits of better graphical user interface, more features, but it will require you to pay like a small amount every month to support the project. Okay, and another thing in the future is that I would like to introduce Tracardi signals. That will be an additional project that will be able to collect data that have a higher frequency. What it actually means. Right now, when we collect page views that come at a certain frequency, but we can collect the high frequency data like mouse moves, mouse clicks, content viewed, mouse overs, etc., etc. Tracardi will be able to collect this, and then later we could use some AI to build on this, like interest, etc., etc., different things. But it will also have like not only events, but also something that we call signals. Basically, they're still events, but they're tagged differently. And if I find some time to present it, I will also present it how it works. And then we could filter the events and the signals. Signals usually are not meaningful. That's like a lot of data, not meaning anything for like a regular marketer. But based on that data, we can create some insight that is then put back to Tracardi, to the profile, that is very meaningful and means a lot for marketers. This is more like, when you take some medical examination. The doctor understands how your heart beats. Okay, I can tell you, okay, you are healthy or not. So this is the same way. Okay, and probably in the future we will also refactor, redesign how the triggers of the automation work. Because when you look at today's Tracardi, you will see that basically Tracardi is triggering automations with special triggers in here, but these are the same as the outbound traffic. So we will just connect the destination to some automation, and it will just work the same way, but will be much cleaner and easier to understand how it works and why it works this way. Okay, and this is basically it. I will now would like to present the differences between the new graphical user interface and the old graphical user interface. And then if you have any questions, I can answer them. Okay, so let's start with the dashboard. This is the version 1.1. Okay, maybe I can even, this is possible. I could show it side by side. That would be nice. Okay, let's do it like this. Here is it. Okay, not looking very good. So let's start with the old version. This is how it looks like the old version, where we have this dashboard with all the events that we are collecting, and current online session, and the event stream. This is not very useful because it actually does not represent how Tracardi works. In the new system, we will have something like this. And this represents Tracardi's event sources, event destinations, and everything that is inside Tracardi. So, for example, we can switch between day, month, and year, see how the data was collected. We can see the latest event stream, and also click on some event and see what that event, what data it carried. You can see also the latest profiles, and also when you switch to the sandbox, where we can configure Tracardi, we can add new event sources, and you can see that they will be here. The same with the destinations. Probably this will become like a control center of Tracardi, where you can quickly add new sources, destinations, and probably in the future automations. And this will represent the current state of the system. And also, what is very important when Tracardi is already deployed and is working, it's the way we can monitor it. And this also should be visible here. Right now, we only have extended information about this in this part, and also the monitoring. Not working. And also the monitoring part should be refactored. Let me see why it doesn't work. Okay, now it's back. So we will also see more data about what's going on, why some things are not working, and there will be more and more information here, because this is very important when Tracardi operates. Also, every part of configuring Tracardi will also be refactored, so we have less clutter on the screen. Right now, it's very similar to the old version with some minor changes, but more changes will be in the data, where we have less data in the cards. Only the most important data will be there. So, for example, you can see this is that I've logged into Tracardi, so we can see all the properties of the event. You can also see the statuses, like it was collected from the system event source. This is the URL that I used. Actually, this is it. Synchronous event, etc. So here we have some most important data, and then in here we can quickly see to whom this event belongs to. We can see what application was used to collect this event. You can see all the IDs and metadata in here. Also, we'll be able through which how the data was processed. So you can also see that it went to this workflow, and basically even see this workflow. This is all still in progress, so maybe some errors. We can also see the JSON, the full JSON, and also debug this event with the attached workflows that are triggered. So then, if something went wrong, we can just go here through and see what was not working. So this view will change, and also we'll be adding more features. So the idea is that the features will be available in API, but the commercial graphical user interface through which you can contribute to the project will be using this API to get more information on the screen. And in here we see the same. We see the data. This is my profile, and quickly you can see where I'm located. You can see the IDs, the recently collected events, some major data also. So it's easy to use. The same for the session. So the most important thing is how the session started, and then we can also see the location. Okay, and this is basically it. How Tracardi is changing, and the major changes are in the way the graphical user interface will be handled, and that there will be an open source and a commercial SaaS-based graphical user interface through which you can contribute to the project.
Very good. Very good. Hey, you can hear me okay, can't you?
Yes.
Okay, so I've just been making notes, a couple of questions. So, okay, so we've got the new APM, and that's configured using identity points. Is that correct?
Yes, it's both identity points, and in a commercial version there are identity points, and in the open source version it uses the predefined personal data that is used for merging.
Okay, so are you able to do a deep dive into that? Because it was one of the things that sort of got me. I've now got this new APM, both on the commercial and open source, but I'm not quite sure what it means.
Okay.
So is it documented, or?
Yeah, yes, it should be documented in the new version. That should be written how
it's probably worth looking for me.
Well, it's very simple to understand. Maybe I can just go through quickly. So when you use open source version, there is like a set of predefined identifiers that we say, okay, it's an email, telephone, and WhatsApp. It's actually a telephone, WhatsApp telephone. There can be some, for example, Twitter through the identification. And there is also a custom ID. It's called ID, so you can send it. It also will pick it up. So this is the way open source works. In the commercial version, you create you either do through the env variables define which is your main merging key, it would be like email. And then you can define additional merging points saying, okay, this event carries this information, and I would like to use this email plus name for identifying customers. So there's like a broader way of identification.
Right. So I've just opened up an open source version of Tracardi, and I've gone to identification, but it does say this is a feature that requires a license. So that's correct. So if I want to understand exactly how it's configured, where can I find the documentation around that, or is it, as you just said, just follow those
in a commercial version or open source?
Open source.
In an open source version, you will go into settings.
Yeah.
And there is an environment variable that defines this. I find the name of it. So let's go into settings and system settings.
Yeah, I'm in there now too.
And let me
enable identification points.
No,
So
enable identification points. It's for because in the commercial version, some customers do not use some features, so you can disable this. But I think in the open source version, it's encoded, it's embedded into the system. So this is automatic profile APM, automatic profile management documentation. And here it describes how it works.
Yeah.
And the merging keys, okay, this is the data that is used for the merging key: email address, phone address, and
great.
identifiers. So this is whenever you fill one of these, one of the properties that are mentioned here, it will try to merge the profile. It's described this way, that when you do the update on this field, it automatically creates an ID. And when you look at Tracardi, any profile, let's find any profile. This one, you can see here IDs.
Yeah.
It updates this part. This is used for internal workings of Tracardi. It will look, when it looks for profiles to be merged, it will look through these IDs. And when you update one of the mentioned here properties, it will create, associated with that property, will create an ID, and it will be prefixed like this. So email main, email business, email private, etc. And when you look at in here again, you can see some are prefixed email, saying this ID was created from an email. And then this is very easy for Tracardi to merge profiles, because it looks for the duplicates of these profiles. If it finds a duplicate, it means that you've wanted this profile to be merged.
Right.
And basically, this feature is very powerful, because even with open source Tracardi, you can have like an external ID from some external system, and when you collect it, you can send it through the event, and it's let me again in the test. In here, you can see that when you set this as a request, you say profile ID, but you can add here IDs and add external ID from the external system. So then when you have like a external way of identifying profiles, just by sending it to Tracardi, API will pick it up and will merge those profiles. So you can somehow overcome even the identification process in Tracardi. Why it's done this way? Because now when the third-party cookies are gone, some industries are having very hard time to identify profiles, and this ID is basically your first-party data, but you still need some third-party data and third-party ID to identify your profile across different domains or across the whole internet. And now the company is popping up like UTIC in Europe that can deliver you an internet-wide ID of a profile. And then you need some way of integrating it into Tracardi. So this is how it's done. Basically, the merging inside Tracardi is very flexible. Basically, this way of hashing an email, putting it into ID, just is a way of saying, yeah, I need to merge this profile, but this function can be outsourced to some external system, some external provider, and they will give you an ID that can be like global ID over the internet that identifies a certain person.
I was just having a read through the documentation that you shared earlier, and there's a section there called Profile IDs Management. We'll be sure to share the link, but there's a list of the different hashes that you can pass in. So working with those will sort of get to where you need to be with those external keys, which is pretty good, in my opinion. So we haven't sort of touched on the commercial version, but that's via the identity points, which I haven't got that screen open at the moment, but it sounds like it's pretty straightforward.
Identification points, right?
Yeah. So that's the APN, from the APM for the commercial version. So
yes, this is the functionality it's on top of APM, because APM is quite straightforward, quite simple. It just looks for the duplicated IDs. If it's duplicated ID, then it takes the profile, merges it the way that there are no conflicts in the data, and then saves it and moves the events, etc., etc.
Yeah, now duplication is actually quite a simple process. You just got to make the key. The key's the hard part. Yeah.
Yes, and this is how you make the key. Actually, this is the way. This is the way. For example, I will show this on this GitHub identification point. This is the way how Tracardi creates the hash. But as I said before, there can be like an external company that does it for you. So it's not based on the email, because external companies don't have access to your customer emails. It's usually based on the IP, the browser, and also now they're using the internet provider data that is not available for me, for example.
Yep.
And
thanks for walking through that.
And identification point works this way, that you define what event type you are looking for. So I'm looking for event type that is git push. That event type comes from the Git. If somebody pushes the some code, it also looks that it should come from the GitHub. So we need a git push event from the GitHub. GitHub is a webhook event source. So because GitHub can send webhooks, so I've created this kind of event source, and then I say if there is an email in that event, and this is the path that is sent from GitHub, and it equals to any of my email stored in Tracardi, then I would like to merge. And it will do what it will do. It will check this condition, this condition is true, then it will take this email, hash it, and put it into the IDs. And APM will pick it up, merge it, and then you have a merge profile. The whole process is divided into two parts. There's an APM, that's the background process that needs some data, and that data can be delivered from Tracardi, from external providers, or if you have like your own identification, you are a bank, you have your own way of identifying customers. You can also send it from your own identification system into Tracardi, and APM will pick this up and merge your profile. So this is actually divided process, and this is made on purpose in this way.
And if it's a commercial financial institution, they'll have their hash IDs and that are totally separate from their main system. So all that sort of stuff's really important to be able to consume that and play it back, because ultimately that's how it gets matched again at the other end. Because CDP sits in the middle, it's orchestrating things, it's helping to make stuff work. It needs to be the keys to go both ways, I suppose. Anyway, I think that's the foundation idea is what I got out of 1.1.0. It's like foundational, under the hood, stuff's going on. I think also, I know it's not, but it sounds like Tracardi could almost be a package or a module for Python, like with the way everything's combust.
Yes, and basically the perfect, for me, composability is something that, because I'm starting to naming Tracardi as, Tracardi is a customer data platform engine. So basically you can build any custom data platform that you want, okay? You can, because on top of this, you can add better audience building or better reporting or better things what you would like to do with the data. You can put on top of this and some AI system. But
that is a very interesting word. Doesn't mean it's better. It just means it's a better fit. We've already got the platform that does this, and we've got a lot of investment in that platform. So better's it's sort of in the eyes of the beholder. But being composable, you can use whatever you need and mix and match, which I think is the big message around composable systems. Tiered approach to the commercial version. So it feels like there's more tiers for getting started, doing more things, which I think is a great thing, helps support the project. I like the idea of outbound being automations. Sort of makes more sense. I've not really worked too much with outbound. So it sort of makes more sense that they're almost like a plug-in in a sense, something that you do it in a flow. So that sort of makes sense as well. I like the idea. The new dashboard looks great. Sort of a more faceted approach to the information. You've only got one place to go, and having the idea of having automations in there as well, I think that's good, because right at the moment, the only reason I use the dashboard in Tracardi is to see if Tracardi's alive, see if the stuff's flowing in, and then I go to the data tab to really drill into the information. So having the dashboard do something more, I think is a great thing.
Yeah, that there's one place lacking, that is the monitoring, and I think that this should be the thing. Okay, the dashboard should allow you to monitor if all your sources are collecting data, if all your destinations are receiving data. Okay, so we are still lacking this.
Yeah, it's not very faceted, is it? Because it's just a stream of information at the moment, a stream of events. Really, you can't drill in to it. So, and if you go into data and events, then you've still got that stream. But at least you can filter with the filter. You can say, I want this event type, or I want that thing, and you can do the filtering that way. So at the moment, that's our workaround. Looking forward to sort of that ability to sort of go into the facets with the UI. That'd be great. listening to what you're talking about with signals, and it feels like signals, and I know this is work that's well into the future, but it feels like it's pathways and insights into more richer events. Now, I guess you could, at the moment, cook up the JavaScript, because ultimately everything in terms of an event is essentially a JavaScript, I suppose, on the page. But you could cook these things up, like if you wanted to know when mouse moved or an image was clicked or whatever, you can get that from the DOM. But it feels as though this is more of a package approach to it, so that it's easier to do instead of having to script everything out. Is that part of the idea there?
Hopefully, I will be able to show it.
Yeah.
Actually, signals are just other type of events. Okay, so but we need to somehow tell which one is a signal and which one is an event, because when you start sending signals into Tracardi, all the data will be just cluttered with the signals that most people don't understand.
So will signals trigger events? Sorry, did I get that right? Will
Yes.
signals trigger
Yes.
Yep.
Actually, maybe. Well, I don't have a local last work because I wanted to show this.
Yep.
Maybe I'll just describe it. Okay. So as you said, a signal is like another JavaScript that collects more data and sends to Tracardi, and then you tag it that this is a signal. This is not an event. Okay. So in the future, when there are displayed events, you'll see only events, and when there are displayed signals, there will be displayed only signals. Then the signals can be grouped and sent to some destination, and that destination can be AI. And that AI consumes this events and creates new event, but this one is like a behavioral system event, but more system event that updates the profile. Okay?
So these signals are interpreted, and their the insights can be gleaned from the signals.
Yes, and it does not clutter the data. So basically, at some point, you could just tag your events this way that a marketer is not very interested on the page views. They are interested what the person is interested in, what they how they can market them. Is that a man or a woman, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So even on this level, I would say that we have like high frequency events, which are signals. We have events, and we have like low frequency signals that could be like, I don't know, profile interests. Okay, profile interests or profile properties that will update the profile, and you will see this type of event like every 1 hour or maybe 20 minutes, etc. But this is the most important data. Actually, this is the data that will tell you who's the customer, if all the signals and the behavioral events tell you that this is somebody who's interested in this particular product or not, then it can build the journeys. Because now I've started with thinking how the journeys are built in CDPs. And basically, a journey is connected to a product. So if you sell like one product or service, this is quite easy. Okay, you can just tag this event and say, okay, this customer is on this stage in my customer journey. But if you sell like hundreds of products, it have to be in the context of a product. Saying, when I want to buy a computer, I'm on the beginning of that journey, but buying something else, I don't know, some apparel, some clothes, some shoes, I'm at the end of this journey. So, and basically at some point you could I would like to configure Tracardi this way, that I say, okay, I'm a marketer and everything just is get hidden. You don't see any signals, any events, but you see your profiles with the most important data for you. But if you are a developer, signals can be like interesting for you.
Yeah, they're creating new events, but it's, as a marketer, I want to see. I'm just at a loss for a really good use case at the moment. But as a marketer, I want to see this certain type of thing happening. If it's happening, I don't care if it's a page view or whatever. I want it to see it happening, and that should trigger something else to happen that will flow through the process. I guess use cases are always good because they help people hitch their mind around what it can do. I'm coming up with a really good one at the moment, so I guess we'll sort of deep dive into that a bit more in the future. But
yeah, but this is a part of part where you collect the data and build meaningful profiles. There's also a part where you do automations. Okay, so there's another thing that for the developer, then they say, okay, I want to, if somebody does something, I would like to do something. But think of it, if we do it this way, that we do not trigger things on like page events or events that are technical, but we trigger automation on somebody got interested on these boots, on this product, okay, then there is a completely different way of handling this, and automation becomes a tool of a marketer.
Yeah. What's I going to say? One of the things I strongly believe is that a customer journey is really just a couple of actions. It's even one action, and trying to map a journey out into something that lasts more than a minute longer, I think you're fraught with a lot of danger, because it just ain't like that. People flip-flop and go from awareness to consideration and back again to decisioning and then back again to consider. Yeah, they're all over the process. They haven't finished it until they have. And they're comparing, if it's products, I'll be comparing 4 or 5 websites just to find out what suits them best, deliveries, price, and all that sort of stuff. So I guess having that AI mesh in there as well. So looking at what's happening, looking at how the person's using the website, being intelligent with that, almost creates a personalized journey using the AI based on the signals.
Yeah, but what I've wanted to mention, this is the context of a product. Okay, if there's no context of a product, then this is the sleeping key. That person is at the beginning of the journey, is at the end of the journey. No, the person is at the beginning, end, and the middle of the journey, in all the states at the same time, depending on which product the person is looking for. So if you have on your site one product, like my case, I have like one software that, so the person who visits my page is only in one state in the journey. But if I have an e-commerce site and some person just looks through my inventory, they are in the journey in several or even hundreds of states at the same time. Okay, I was looking for 5 seconds for a computer, but like three days for a mouse.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept though, because then you think of a shopping cart, e-commerce, and you're presented with a cart. I suppose you can have your wish list, but you never really got the option of having a couple of carts at the same time. So if you could be doing
actually you still are in a you still have one cart, but if you put something into the cart something, then you can just go into like a last step of last step of the customer journey. Okay, not going into details, last step. But before putting something into the cart, you were also looking for some other things. Okay, and now you are in the beginning of the journey of that. If you didn't put it into the cart, so and also there's very interesting concept of reusing the content, and I'm really interested in that, in the AI concept, the whole thing. So now imagine that I was looking for some Adidas shoes, okay? And then at some point, my signals went to AI, and AI discovered that I'm looking for Adidas shoes, and it can query my database, find all the Adidas shoes, find which one is selling the best, also maybe query the internet if possible, and prepare a short PDF with the report which boots are the best for running, for example, because it also noticed that. And because Tracardi can interact back with the customer, so if that's quick enough, on the third click on the page, I can see this pop-up. Look, we've prepared for you reports about the Adidas shoes. We see you are on the beginning of the journey, so you probably now need to choose from multiple types of shoes. Here, see, please leave your email because we would like to contact you. Please leave your email, and we will send you the full report with what's selling, what's not, what's the best. And I reused my content, which is in the database, just to engage the customer. That's not possible right now. Okay. If I at the end of the journey, the content that I will prepare will be completely different, because at the end of the journey, you will maybe you are at stage of comparing. So then I will see that you Puma shoes and Adidas shoes. I have a report that compares those shoes. And because we are in the context of the product, that can be possible.
It all comes down to what you're consuming, what the consumer is shopping for and putting in their cart. I was just thinking then that you could have a, based on your behavior, we predict that you're going to be 90% satisfied with this product, but that's not going to work. Because, no, but there's all sorts of things you can do, and that was just
you have to just prepare the information that will be the most personalized for that person in the particular time. So if that's possible, and we're using content that we have, that would be just great.
Some time ago, there felt like, and I'm not sure if you noticed it, but there's a few services that popped up that were selling clothes, and they asked a series of questions, and they just sent what they recommended to you. You didn't choose; they just sent it. You could send it back, and it was a predictive service around clothes. But it sort of had that cycle, that cadence of, we'll make a decision for you, send it out, send the goods out to you once a month. You can either pay for them or send them back. I can't remember the names of those sorts of services, but in a sense, this is doing that in real time. Just as the signal's coming through, Tracardi, the CDP is handling it, and a pop-up or the DOM's manipulated in some way, so the messaging on the website's changed, just to make the experience more compelling, however that needs to be. So instead of that taking a month to get the data sorted out, it all is in real time. It's just flowing through. We're well over an hour. We're an hour and 15 minutes since we started. It always surprises me. I think, what are we going to talk about today? I even messaged you earlier today, Risto, and said, do you think we should do it? I don't know if we've got enough to cover. Personally, I've got 3 posts, and as always, I've just got to find good quality time to put them together and do them. One's about Easy Panel. It seems to be, I've been talking about finishing that off for quite some time. I just need to bite the bullet and do it. Another one is about dashboarding, not so much in Tracardi, but just an approach to doing dashboards. And the third one is, it's just gone from my head right now. I do have notes around that, so look out for those soon on the blog, and make sure you sign up and subscribe. I do have a question about a plugin that I put together recently, which is on a pull request, which is a GenAI one. Maybe we could take that offline, because you've done all my other pull requests, but that one's still waiting. So there's probably something.
I have to review it. Yes, I have to review it. I have it in my mind.
No problem. So it's still on the backlog. That's cool. Cool. All right, then I think that's all from this end. We've got the LinkedIn going. We've got about a dozen people there. Haven't posted too much in there. So the last couple of blog posts haven't been posted there. A bit low key at the moment. There's always, so the idea behind the LinkedIn is just to have a space on LinkedIn where we can share what we're doing. And if you're in LinkedIn, hop in there and have a look, and you might see something that you can reshare or engage with the community about in a more of a commercial nature. It's not so much the how-tos and the tech stuff, but all that LinkedIn stuff where we might be sharing, I've got a job, I need some help, some of that higher level stuff, or hey, we've just solved this for a customer, sharing a use case, a success story, all the the nice stories we hear about on LinkedIn. So it's a place to at least be sharing what we might be sharing. So it's just for people that like that sort of stuff. Obviously got the blog, and we've got the Slack group and everything else that's going on. But the about page on Tracardi.com, it's got all the links, hasn't it, Risto?
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess that's the place to go. Thank you so much for everything you're doing in the community, Risto.
Thank you.